Most of us learn the art of persuasion pretty early on. Whether you're trying to convince your parents to buy you that pet dog you really want, or you're trying to persuade a teacher to push off a test she assigned. So something should really stand out to us when we read the conversation between Haman and Achashverosh in the Megillah, where Haman's trying to convince Achashverosh to sign that decree and kill the Jews. He describes us as an Am Mifuzar Mifurad, a scattered and spread out nation. And what's even weirder is that's what seems to be the clincher. That is what convinces Achashverosh to stamp the decree. So what did Haman know about us as a nation and about something to do with Achashverosh that we need to figure out? There was once a teacher who was having a particularly difficult time getting her class to get along. They would just argue about everything. So one day she came into class with a bunch of pencils held together with a rubber band. And she called on the most macho kid in the class to come up and try to break all the pencils. So the student came forward, took the big bunch of pencils and tried to crack it in half. And it wasn't working. So the teacher turned to her now frustrated student and said, "Maybe you can think of an easier way to break all the pencils." And so the student smiled and said, "Well, if I untie the rubber band, I can break them each individually." So he separated all the pencils and broke each one easily. And that really is what Haman understood. Haman understood that Achashverosh might not want to attack us because when we are strong, it's very hard to break us as a people. But now, in the Purim story, he saw us as a splintered and scattered nation. We lacked the Achshus that gave us the strength we needed to persevere. So he said to Achashverosh, "Now is the perfect time to pounce." And Achashverosh said, "You're right, let's do it." And he signed the decree. But we see later on in the story that Haman is not the only one who understands the strength of unity. When Mordechai convinces Esther to go speak to Achashverosh on behalf of the Jews, Esther says, "Lech knos es kol haYehudim." I can't do this alone. Go gather all of the Jews, because it's more than she can't do it alone. It's that we can only survive and make it through this if we are together. If we fast and pray together, and we see that it worked. Once we reunited, they could not stop us. And on Purim, the holiday that we celebrate being saved from this whole decree, all of the mitzvahs of Purim reinforce this message. Megillah, we hear it twice and we listen to this message. There is strength in unity. We give matanos la'avyonim, gifts to poor people, to feel united and to bring them in. We give mishloach manos to each other, to create friendliness. And we have a mishta, a feast, all together with everyone, family and friends. So, okay, you might be like, I get it, you need to be together, but let's face it. No matter how much you want to love every Jew, there are those people who come along and are really obnoxious and say hurtful things and offend you. So what is a practical step that we can take to increase our Ahavas Yisrael this Purim and really feel the message of unity? If we can learn to view each other as people and just people who make mistakes, sometimes even hurtful mistakes, we may find it's easier for us to overlook another person's wrongdoings. And we know that when we are able to look over someone else's, Hashem overlooks ours as well. So here's a challenge this Purim. Think of a person who you don't necessarily have the warmest feeling towards. Take a moment to think actual good thoughts about them. Come up with 2 positive attributes, and you'll see the way you interact with them will change, and even the way they interact with you will change as well. So this Purim, let's internalize the message of the pencils and the message that Haman and Esther really understood. And let us please act as one family, one nation.